Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IRB Invit call hosted by the company for discussing the financial results for Q2 FY19. We have with us on the call today Mr. Vinod Menon, Mr. Tushar Kavedia, and Mr. Urmil Shah. I would now request Mr. Menon to give you an overview of the significant development during the quarter. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. A very good evening to all. I would like to welcome all the investors and analysts on the Concall. I hope you have our detailed number as well as presentation in hand by now. Well, the second quarter is always marked by softening of the traffic due to monsoons, so also a slowdown in the construction activities across the country. Additionally, this quarter has witnessed All India Transporters strike for over 8 days. But on the positive side, we exercised tariff revision for 3 of our assets. That is the Surat-Dahisar, Bharuch-Surat and Omalur-Salem, ranging between 2.7 to 3%. And with this, all our projects have seen tariff revision for the year. Last year, we had acquired Pathankot-Amritsar project effective from 28 September 2017, and accordingly, the total revenue numbers aren't comparable for Q2 FY19 versus Q2 FY18. Excluding Pathankot-Amritsar, the growth for the balance 6 assets stood at 6% YOY, primarily impacted by the sand mining ban, putting pressure on the commercial traffic severely in Jaipur-Devli. Excluding Jaipur-Devli and Pathankot-Amritsar, the portfolio has witnessed a growth of 9.4%, fairly close to the target growth of 9.58%. If we adjust for the transport strike for 8 days as well, we note that this average per day revenue growth comes to double digit on YOY basis, excluding the Jaipur-Devli and Pathankot-Amritsar projects. While the total per day revenue for all 7 assets put together is fairly in line with the broad guidance, even with a 26% decline in the Jaipur-Devli toll collections. With this base, we have declared a payout of rupees 3 per unit, with rupees 2.2 as interest and 0.8 as capital reduction, implying an annualized return of over 19% at the current market price. Our confidence in the potential performance of the trust has been resonated by the senior management team as well as the promoter of our sponsor, who have purchased meaningful stake in the trust recently. And I would reiterate, our performance at the portfolio level is in line with our guidance at the time of IPO, even if we are facing some temporary setbacks in the Jaipur-Devli and Pathankot-Amritsar projects. Last week, the state government of Punjab approved the new mining policy, which is expected to provide a boost to the mining as well as construction business in the state and improve the traffic movement for Amritsar-Pathankot project. We have seen gradual improvement in collections for the project and expect it to continue over the coming quarters. The double-digit growth for the rest of the project, barring Jaipur-Devli, is also expected to continue. Overall, we expect H2 FY19 to be meaningfully stronger than H1 FY19 and meet our guidance of around 10% YOY revenue growth and payout of rupees 12.3 per unit. You can refer the further details in the corporate presentation available on our website. Now I would request Mr. Tushar Kavedia to give an overview of the financial performance. Over to you, Tushar.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll present the financial analysis for Q2 FY19 versus Q2 FY18. The total consolidated income for the quarter ended Q2 FY19 increased to rupees 292 crores from rupees 251 crores in Q2 FY18, registering a growth of 16%. The consolidated toll revenues for the quarter ended Q2 FY19 has gone up to rupees 286 crores from rupees 248 crores, registering a growth of 15% over quarter ended Q2 FY18. EBITDA for the quarter ended Q2 FY19 increased to rupees 235 crores from rupees 207 crores in Q2 FY18, registering a growth of 14%. Interest costs, including the interest on premium deferment for quarter ended Q2 FY19, increased to rupees 39 crores from rupees 11 crores in Q2 FY18. The depreciation for the quarter ended Q2 FY19 increased to rupees 160 crores from rupees 128 crores in Q2 FY18. The PAT for the quarter ended Q2 FY19 stood at rupees 35 crores as compared to rupees 68 crores in Q2 FY18. The net distributable cash flows for Q2 FY19 stands at rupees 175 crores at standalone level, of which we are distributing rupees 128 crores in the form of interest and rupees 46 crores in the form of capital reduction. The cash and bank balance at the consolidated level stand at rupees 68 crores. Now I request moderator to open the session for question and answers.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may kindly press star 1 on your touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. We will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Gaurav Fulwani from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Tushar. Thanks for the information. So I have a couple of questions. First being the loan taken from SBI for this Amritsar Pathankot project. So the interest rate would have been revised in the month of September. So can you tell us what is the revised interest rate of this loan?
So revised interest rate, the weighted average interest rate is 8.35% per annum.
Okay. So this will slightly increase the cost of interest.
Yeah. So the impact for the FY19 would be very negligible, close to 1.5 crores.
Okay. And second question is, in the Q1 FY19 PPT, you guys had shared that Surat, Dahisar and Bharuch Surat were significantly affected by traffic diversion. Yes. So I believe that issue right now is resolved. Is it so? And if that is resolved, then what would be the quantum in terms of the revenue lost for that period?
Yeah, if you see, this work for the diversion has been completed in the back end of the September, and the numbers what we may see in the coming quarters would be the actual numbers, or the considering the traffic growth what we have assumed is 5.5%.
So in terms of the revenue which would have been lost due to this diversion, so will you be filing for a reimbursement as in the compensation loss?
We are evaluating that. We have not yet submitted the revenue loss because we are still evaluating it, and as soon as we evaluate it, we will go in for this claim.
Okay, and I believe there were some other compensation pending which you had filed with NHAI, I think for the last year, FY18. Yeah. So what would be the status of those? As in, is there any other update on those the filings?
Yeah, those claims which we have submitted for Jaipur Devli for sand mining ban and Amritsar Pathankot for the mining ban, those are with NHAI, and they will be calling for the meeting of conciliation very shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
They are already evaluating it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shashank Savla from Lion Trust. Please go ahead.
Hi there. Thanks for the call. So, Tushar, if I can just confirm, so the SBI rate was 8.15 and has it been reset to 8.35 now?
So if you see, the SBI rate is now 8.45, whereas because we have two lenders in this, the other one is IDFC. So the IDFC has a fixed rate with 8.15 with a quantum of 500 crores, and whereas 1,000 crores is from SBI, which is at the rate of 8.45. So the total weighted average rate is coming to 8.35.
And this 8.45, is it now fixed for 1 year?
It will be, it is linked to the 6 months MCLR and again will be reviewed in the month of March.
And what about the IDFC one?
IDFC is fixed for another 4 years.
Fixed for another 4 years, okay. Fine. The second question I wanted to ask was, so your rating is AAA by CARE.
Right.
Is there any thinking about getting a rating from CRISIL as well, given that CARE ratings have not worked with the ILFS fiasco?
In fact, if you see, we have two ratings as of now, which is the requirement, and the other rating agency would be the India Ratings, which will also do the rating for the trust. As far as CRISIL, we have not, since the requirement is as not there, we will not be going for another third agency now.
Right. No, it's just that the confidence on CARE ratings has taken a hit. So it's just like a suggestion, but if you can think about getting a rating from CRISIL as well, that could help the company.
Okay, we will evaluate if we can see for third agency also for the rating.
Right. The other one was I wanted to understand the profit versus the cash flow. So in terms of the profit, because I didn't have time to go through the whole presentation right now. I'm just trying to understand why it's fallen by 49% year on year.
Sorry?
So the profit after tax. So
yeah.
how that...
The profit after tax is down mainly due to the interest portion. If you see, the Pathankot was acquired in the tag end of September 17, and the previous year numbers are only for 3 days, whereas this quarter is a full quarter. And the second impact is due to the depreciation, which is also on account of the Pathankot project.
Right. Okay. And any update on the one acquisition per year which you were planning to do?
Yeah, we are looking for asset from the sponsor side, which will be eligible for transfer to InvIT at the end of the quarter 4 for FY19, that is Solapur Yedeshi. And once this asset is offered by the sponsor, we will evaluate the returns being generated or the valuation being offered, and also the market price of the trust at that moment. So these first three parameters, we will be looking at these three parameters, and once all these parameters are available, we will put this forward to the unit holders for approval.
Right. Okay. So I think that's it from me for the moment. I'll wait in the queue and see if others have a question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sarvanan Vishwanathan from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. As regards Pathankot Amritsar project, is it moving in line with your internal projections?
Presently, it is slightly affected due to that mining policy which has recently been announced by the cabinet, the state cabinet, and we may see that in the quarter 3 end of the quarter 3 or from the quarter 4, the numbers will be close to our projections.
Okay. In Q3, are there any tariff revisions applicable for any of the projects?
No, all of our projects have seen the tariff revision in the quarter 2 itself now.
Okay. So, and how is October shaped up?
October being a festive month, we are seeing the numbers are better and improving on most of the projects.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Darshan Devra from Indvest Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, Tushar. I had a question regarding the future transfer of assets from the sponsor to the trust. I wanted to know what would be the basis of valuation, because at one point, the lower the valuation, the better it is for the trust and the unit holders, and the higher the valuation, the better it is for the sponsor, the one who's selling the asset. So how are you going to balance the two, and what is going to be the basis of valuation?
So if you see the earlier acquisition which was happened, that was the Pathankot Amritsar project. So the parameters what we have considered as the improvement in the yield. First of all, we will see the improvement in the yield for the unit holders. Secondly, the tenure of the project and the location of the project. Thirdly, we will also evaluate the performance because the price also plays a role in further acquisition. So presently, we may also see the market price of the trust at the time of acquisition to acquire further new assets. So first means from the trust side, definitely we will look that these three parameters are met and it is meeting to the expectation of the unit holders.
So any target IR that you would have in mind?
See, target IR to presently we are expecting 12.5-13%, which was at the issue price and for the 7 of the assets. So anything above or near to that would be the basis for acquisition, further acquisition.
Okay. And one more question I had, if I look at, the price of the units, so they have come down from, the issue price to, I think, almost 73 rupees. Wanted to just sort of understand a little bit more from you. So what, like, for example, every quarter you're giving a distribution which is part either interest or dividend and part capital reduction, right? So
right.
Technically, the price should decline by the capital reduction amount, right? Not by the interest or the dividend, right? Because that would be a recurring stream. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
So the balance, whatever the share price falling is more the market sentiment or the interest rates and things like that. It's not because the capital has been returned, right?
Yes, you're right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Viral Shah from MK Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. First of all, congratulations on a good set of numbers. Basically, sir, couple of questions. One, when you look at Talegaon Amravati, there we see a gross toll collection of around 15%.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Shah. Your voice is a bit low. Can you?
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, this is better. Thank you.
Yeah. So in terms of Talegaon Amravati, when you look at the gross toll collection comes to around 15%, right, for the quarter. Right. And when we look at first quarter, we had seen a traffic or a toll rate hike of around 4.4 to 4.3%. Right. So that implies an traffic growth of excess of around 10.5%. So what is the reason for such a high traffic growth in the stretch? Can you explain?
Yeah. So if you see, this Talegaon Amravati is a part of Mumbai-Nagpur corridor, and since this corridor has seen a movement of more commercial vehicles recently, which has resulted into a higher revenue for this quarter. So movement of commercial vehicles has resulted the increase in the revenue.
Low base also. Basically, Talegaon Amravati has started with a low base, so the base itself is getting corrected.
Okay, fair enough, sir. And finally, when you look at Jaipur really, sir, what is the project where you can see the commercial traffic will not fall from here? Basically, there would be some minimum benchmark where you can, because just 27% drop in toll revenue is something which is a very high number, because if you adjust this to a 4% toll rate hike, then the traffic actually comes down to 30-31%. Is the understanding correct? And secondly, what is the benchmark where you can see that from here the toll rate should not decline significantly?
So
Viral, this Jaipur Devli, the mining traffic got impacted from middle of November last year. Probably from the fourth quarter this year, we should see a growth in Jaipur Devli without considering the mining traffic coming back on the road.
Okay.
We believe that in terms of the mining traffic also, post the Rajasthan election, there should be some policy for the mining traffic, as we have seen in the state of Punjab week before. So then definitely it will be a temporary thing. And post third quarter numbers, I think we will be seeing the growth in the Jaipur Devli also.
Okay, fair enough, sir. And thank you and all the best for future.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prashant Pandey from Birla Sun Life. Please go ahead.
Hello, yes, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, so, sir, first of all, I wanted to understand, as in, for few of the projects, there has been tariff revision of around 2.7%, 2.92. So, because generally, in assumptions, I believe you also expect 4.5% since it is linked to WPI. So, what is the reason for lower traffic revision for these projects?
So your voice is not clear. Can you come back your question again?
The 2.92% revision in Bharuch Surat,
Right.
that is relatively lower compared to around 4.5%, which you on the overall basis you expect the increase in tariffs due to increase in WPI.
Right.
So what is the reason for lower tariff revision?
See, if you see, this tariff revision is linked to the WPI of the previous year, and in the previous year we have seen the WPI has gone down, and therefore the tariff revision what has happened in this Surat Dahisar or the other two projects, Omlur Salem and the Bharuch Surat, is slightly lower compared to the other projects which are directly linked to the 3% and plus 40% of WPI for a particular month. So one of the reason is that. Secondly, when we say though the tariff revision is lower, but despite of that, we have seen the traffic growth has correspondingly increased in this particular three projects. And if you see the revenue growth of these three projects, we are almost close to 9.5%, or between 9.5% to 10%. So even if the tariff increase is not there, the traffic growth has supported the revenue growth assumption.
Secondly, how much is the external debt currently?
External debt is 1526.
Okay, thanks. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, kindly press star 1. The next question is from the line of Urvil Bhatt from IIFL. Please go ahead.
So this is Anupam Gupta here from IIFL. So the question is basically for Jaipur Deoli and Amritsar Pathankot. So Jaipur Deoli, for the last 4 quarters, you have seen the mining ban impact, and similar impact in Amritsar Pathankot. So what is the total claim for both these which you have filed or will file for the last 4 quarters?
We have already filed the claims for both the projects, and
right.
For the FY19 up to March 19, we have claimed Jaipur Devli has 14.7 odd
14.74,
and Amritsar Pathankot it is 5 odd crores.
And for this year, first half, what would be the number?
Actually, this being a force majeure and the change in law, we have to raise these claims every end of the FY.
End of the year. So, but it would be similar number, right? Again, because of the source.
More in fact, because the traffic growth is also needs to be considered.
Right. And for the transport strike which you saw for 8 days, what will be the approximate claim you will file?
That is a force majeure clause. They have claimed differently for all the 7 projects, And
we are working on the same. Basically, number was approved by NHA can be shared with the investors.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's a sector issue. So NHA is taking up that.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajshri Maitra from CIMB. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to check this 20% increase in payload for trucks. So is that having an impact on traffic at all on your projects? I mean, I understand it came through towards the end of July. So now is it having an impact on the traffic?
Till now, we are not seeing any impact on the traffic or the revenue due to that.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Nachit Kamath from Anand Rathi. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I just wanted to know that our Surat Dahisar and Baru Surat, both of these projects are coming off, the concession is going to end in 2022, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and these two happen to be some of our major contributors. So, are we, like, what is the, like, scope we are looking at some similar number kind of project? Like, is it possible? Because since we have only 3 years to get it done.
So, as said in the call earlier, we may be looking for more assets acquisition in the coming years.
Yes, so one asset a year, right?
Yeah. So there are various assets which are getting eligible from the sponsor side also, and considering the at least 2 to 3 acquisitions till these assets are going out, because the trust is eligible to raise a debt of almost another 45 billion, and by raising of debt and without dilution, we can acquire another 3 to 4 assets, 2 to 3 assets.
Okay, so
line of projects in the corporate presentation also.
And even if we don't consider any addition of the asset, these in next 3 or 4 years, we will be able to retain, because we have to pay 90%, minimum 90%. So we will be able to retain around 8 to 10% every year. This will get accumulated, which will help us to pay 12% in those years when those assets go back to the NHA.
okay.
Based on that, we don't foresee that there will be dip in the
Okay, sir. That's it. I only have this question. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of K.U. Rusher from Reliance Nippon Life. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. I have a couple of questions. So, regarding the valuation, as we understand that being an InvIT, the company is required to undergo valuation semi-annually. So, wanted to understand what is the NAV right now? So, regarding the valuation?
Basically, we have seen an increase in the GSEC approximately by 8 to 10%. Accordingly, the last valuation was close to 115 to 116 rupees. We anticipate similar kind of decline in the valuation also, because risk-free return will increase to 8 to 10%. So roughly, the valuation will come closer to 105 to 106 rupees.
Okay. And we'll be getting this detailed valuation report by sometime next month?
We will be filing within a couple of days. Those
okay.
will be regulated within 45 days, but we will be filing within a couple of days.
Okay. And so my second question was regarding the Pathankot-Amritsar project. So just to reconfirm, you mentioned that there has been a policy change in Punjab, and that would be positive for that Pathankot. So what would be the effective date through which this ban has been lifted?
The policy has been brought out in, somewhere in last week or 10 days back. After that, there will be a bidding. There is an open bidding in which these people will bid out, and then the mining will start. That is how it is. So it will take at least 1.5 to 2 months before the traffic picks up, the mining traffic picks up. And within this period, they will start the production.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Those are my questions.
Thank you. We have a follow-on question from the line of Shashank Savla from Lion Trust. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks again. I just wanted to understand the loan tenures for the SBI and the IDFC. Like, how long are the loans for?
The loan is for 15 years with the ballooning repayment.
For both of them?
Yeah.
Probably last 1 year you have paid only 15 to 20 crore rupees only.
Right. Okay. And
repayment plan.
Yeah. And can you remind me? I might have not heard that clearly. But for the Bharuch-Surat, if I see the traffic growth, it's 6% versus mostly 10-12% for the rest of the projects. So why is that a bit lower than the other projects?
As we have said earlier also, that the quarter, since there was a traffic diversion also for the two projects, Surat Station and Bharuch-Surat. The first reason is this traffic diversion, which was there till September end, and secondly, the quarter is a monsoon quarter also. So we have seen some heavy monsoon flooding in the particular region. These are the two reasons for the downfall in the area.
Yes. And the SBI, which is a floating loan, is there a possibility to convert it into a fixed loan?
Possibility to convert in a fixed loan will not be the rate what we are getting today, will be definitely higher because in the rising interest rate scenario. So fixed option, the lender would not be giving at the rate what we have today.
Right. Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Mr. Savla, any further questions?
No, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a follow-on question from the line of Urvil Bhatt from IIFL. Please go ahead.
So this is Anupam again from IIFL.
Yeah.
Just wanted some clarity. If you have you got any clarity on provisions for buyback of units by the trust themselves, given where the unit price is?
We are having discussions with SEBI, and one round of discussion has already happened, and they have asked to prepare the draft so that the further discussion would be there.
Okay. So, but do you think this can come through in this year? Clarity on that?
Actually, it will depend on the discussions which will go around with SEBI. The timelines at present, we cannot commit on anything that it will happen under this year.
Okay.
But expected that policy will be in place before end of this financial year.
Okay. Following on that, hypothetically, let's say if it is approved, and you have to decide between buying a new asset or buying back of your own units. So how would you decide between the two? Given let's say given this unit price, it obviously is very, very attractive to buy your own units rather than buying a new asset. So would that be a consideration or would that not be a consideration?
Yeah, it will depend on the time when this buyback policy is out and how fruitful it is for the unit holders, whether we should go in for a buyback or a new acquisition. So at that time we will be able to evaluate which is the better way of doing the buyback.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shiv Kumar from Unifi Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, what is the retained cash levels at the InvIT level currently?
So if you see at the console level, the retained cash is close to 68 crores rupees.
Okay. And sir, you would also be evaluating non-IRB toll projects also for onboarding onto the InvIT, right?
Yeah, as said in the call earlier, we will be evaluating if some opportunity is available.
Okay. So generally, how is the mood out there in terms of interest for toll projects? Because the first cluster of NHI projects got a good response. So how challenging it will be to onboard an asset at attractive valuations for the InvIT?
See, in terms of the valuation, if project is basically will improve the yield to the unit holder, then definitely we are ready to buy those assets. But we will not be buying bunch of assets which will have primarily construction risk, or basically if there is some other risk also associated in the bunch of the project. If there are operational projects available with low risk, then definitely we will try to buy those assets.
Okay. Sir, and going by the InvIT rules, is the InvIT manager allowed to churn the portfolio wherein you onboard a attractive asset and maybe sell off an asset which you think is not performing well? Are there any regulations which bar you from doing that?
Yeah, if you see the InvIT regulation, anything to be whether acquired or disposed of needs the approval of unit holders. So board will only propose the proposal for the acquisition or disposable to the unit holders, and once approved by the majority of the unit holders, then only the transaction would happen.
Okay. So can I say that in a hypothetical situation where the unit value is highly undervalued, can one look at actually monetizing one of the assets and doing a buyback?
That option we have still not evaluated, and we will see that if such option is required, because disposal of assets, because we have acquired recently 7 assets and suddenly thinking of disposing one of the assets would also be dependent on how the unit holders would like to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone.
Any more questions?
As there are no further questions, I would like to hand the conference over to Mr. Menon for closing comments.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time, and we look forward to talk to you again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference.